All right, and let's go ahead and start the presentation. So thank you all for joining us. We are talking about Grad Slam today, which is it's a UC system-wide event. It's a competitive speaking competition that highlights the work of UC graduate students. So it's very exciting. Thank you for joining us today. This is the agenda that we will be covering with the webinar. And again, we are recording, so you'll have the chance to review this information later if you like. We'll also be giving links to some websites where you can find a lot of this information as well later on in the presentation, but this is what we are going to be covering. And there's a few of us here on the call. We're all going to be taking turns presenting some of this information. We'll introduce ourselves in just a moment. But if you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat or in the Q&A, and we will definitely help you out. All right, so at this point, I'm going to ask my co-presenters to introduce themselves. And for those of you who've been putting your information in the chat, thank you, and please continue to do so. Juliana, do you want to go first?
Yeah, thanks so much, Shauna. Hi, everyone. My name is Juliana. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am in my final year getting my MFA in the Department of Theater and Dance. I teach I'm one of the teachers on the Communicating Your Research workshops, and I am also a past participant of Grad Slam, and I'm super excited to be sharing insights with y'all. And I'm going to hand it off to Claudia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Claudia. I'm a second-year MA student with the Latin American Studies program. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm a professional development intern with the graduate division, and I help with all things Grad Slam, GradVantage, and I also help with CYR as well. So I'll be your logistics person. So now I'm going to be handing it off to Shauna.
Thank you both. And my name is Shauna Slabiota. My pronouns are she and hers. And I work on professional development initiatives in the graduate division, which is why we're talking about Grad Slam. All right.
Yeah. So what is Grad Slam? As you can see, it's a public speaking competition for graduate students that builds research communication skills and showcases the potential impact of research. That's a whole lot of words to say that Grad Slam is a way for you to get really clear about what your research is and practice how you communicate it to an audience. I like to think of this not as a competition, but as a series of practice that is aimed at getting you ready for academic settings, potential job settings, and also when you encounter someone at when we're allowed to have dinner parties again, someone saying, hey, what do you research? This competition will prepare you for that. Great. So like, why participate? Excellent question. So this is a competition that is going to work on your communication skills. But I think like the biggest takeaway is this notion of distilling your research. When I was a participant, this seemed really scary to me. But I think that with the way that the workshops are designed to help you create this speech, you walk away really understanding like how to communicate what it is that you study in a very short amount of words. You get some wonderful access to individual coaching. For me, it renewed a passion in my research, and it influenced different directions I wanted to go because I was able to hear about research from other areas happening in the university and how I could situate what I was doing to speak to those other things that were happening. And it's a lot of fun, I have to say. It's a pretty great time.
All right. So thank you, Juliana. So I do want to stress Grad Slam is a 3-minute talk, which can seem maybe overwhelming to be able to, like Juliana said, distill the story or the message of your research. But I really want to stress that We have partners across campus that help us with this event. We have lots of staff members that are helping you at every step of the way. So you're already here, yay, for the information session. We have brainstorming sessions at the Writing Hub that are going on right now. There's also going to be a couple Writing Hub workshops specifically on communicating to a non-expert audience and communicating with the public that are very helpful when you're preparing your Grad Slam talk. You can also meet with the writing consultants to in terms of like the way that your talk is organized and the flow and the language that you're using, as well as the coaching. And so all of these sessions are happening virtually for 2021. All of the links to sign up are on the Grad Slam site, and I will include a link a little bit later, but I want to let you know that there is a lot of help that's available and that you will be spending time practicing and revising and practicing and revising your talk to continually get better. Juliana, do you want to add from the side of the participants, sort of what this process looks like?
Yeah, absolutely, Shauna. I'd love to. I think that the way Shauna just laid it out for you in terms of that this is an iterative process because we are virtual right now. The wonderful, wonderful staff at UCSD has really constructed a cornucopia of resources, whether it's I need to work on how do I brainstorm, whether it's I really want to work on my delivery, or whether it's, hey, I'm not really even sure if I qualify for Grad Slam. We are here to answer all of your questions, and whatever you need, we will direct you to that support. And I can't tell you how helpful it was hearing from a coach saying, oh, this sentence, when you said this, that really helped me understand, because ultimately we're trying to practice strong, solid communication about things that we think about all the time, but might not be super evident to others.
So this is a little bit more of the nuts and bolts of the competition. I'm not going to spend quite as much time here, but it is open to all UC San Diego graduate students across all disciplines. It is a 3-minute talk. Timing begins once the student engages with the audience. If you have specific questions about this, you could talk to one of the coaches or one of the staff, but this could be when you begin talking. Sometimes it starts with a gesture or a hand clap or some other action, and that's the point that the timing for the 3 minutes begins. You may be penalized for being under and over. We tend to be more lenient with this earlier in the competition, but as we get closer to the final event, please know that we really do expect you to be at 3 minutes. And then in cases where there's collaborative research, we want you to focus on your part of the project and speak about your work so that and you can talk about your collaborators and like we collaborated on this, but the focus should be on your contributions to the project that you're on. And so students are able to use a maximum of 3 slides. You don't have to use slides at all, or you could use 1 or 2, and that's fine. We generally do PowerPoint. Google Slides is okay. But if you have questions about this, just let me know. The slides have to be created by the student, not by a professional. We do allow embedding of an audio or a video clip if you want to have that as part of your talk, but you're not allowed to use animations. So keep that in mind. And this can get tricky sometimes as well. So if you have a specific question, you can always go to one of us. And then props are allowed, but it's good to check with us ahead of time just to tell us what you're planning and kind of get that okay, so we're aware of the role that the props will play in your talk. And so this year is different than Grad Slams in the past. Students are asked to record their 3-minute talk in a video file and then submit that for consideration. So we're allowing people to really use any kind of app or platform that you're comfortable with, but we do need to be able to see you as the speaker and see your slides. So keep that in mind. I do want to remind you all that as a UC San Diego affiliated person, you have access to Zoom. Kaltura Capture is another option. I was playing around with it yesterday, and I feel like it's not quite as user friendly, but if you are comfortable with Kaltura, you could use that. I do think Zoom is a little bit more user friendly, so you might want to start there and see how it goes. And then I just wanted to note that this will require a download to your computer. Um, if you haven't checked out Zoom yet, or well, you're on Zoom now, but if you want to have more information on UC San Diego's use of Zoom, I am going to put a link in the chat. That's a really long link. And this should help you out with some of the more technical aspects of Zoom. Okay, so as we've mentioned, Grad Slam is a competition. Students submit their talks and then they get feedback from the people that we have as judges. This is the ballot or this is the criteria that the judges will be using to provide feedback. So they rank students on a scale of 1 to 5 in these different areas, and then there's a place for comments. So this gives you an idea of what we're looking for. Organization, how is the talk organized? Does it follow like a natural flow? We do, if for visuals, if you choose to use slides, how is that adding to the talk, or how are you utilizing that in conjunction with your words? Engagement, intellectual significance, appropriateness, clarity. These are the other things that we're looking for. And what I want to share, or what I want to tell you, is that we share this information that we get from the judges with the contestants. So all the students will submit their recorded talks, and then we'll select 10 students to go to the final round. And so everybody is going to get these judges' ballots. But if you've been selected as a finalist, you can use this feedback to make tweaks to your talk. And so that when you do it for the final round, you've had the chance to maybe work through some of these things that didn't flow as right, or felt a little funny, using, again, the feedback that you get from the people who are judging. And this is all online, so we're very transparent in what we're looking for. This is on the Grad Slam website, but I wanted to show it here today in case anyone had any questions.
Okay, now we're going to be talking about prizes. So for folks who are able to submit your video, so for the preliminary round, all folks will be receiving a $50 prepaid Visa gift card. And as Shauna mentioned earlier, there's going to be 10 folks who are going to be going to the final round, and 7 of the participants are going to be receiving a $500 reward, where third place will receive $1,500, second place will receive $3,000, and grand prize is $5,000. And the timeline is as follows. So the Grad Slam interest form is now available. I'll make sure to leave a link to this in the chat so you're able to fill it out and keep updated with all things that are Grad Slam related. I highly suggest that you leave your information, because Shauna will be updating you with opportunities for coaching and just workshops that will really help prepare you for your final submission, or for your submission rather. And recorded videos are due February 16th. Finalists will be announced by March 8th, and the final round will take place during the week of April 5th to the 9th. However, the date is still being discussed, so that will be announced later, as well as the UC system-wide final is going to be announced later on.
All right. So what I wanted to do with you all today is show you an example of a video that we had in last year from 2020. Due to the pandemic and the timing of the pandemic, we were not able to have a final Grad Slam round, but what we did instead was have a virtual research showcase where all of our 10 finalists were able to do their talk, but there wasn't a competition aspect to it for 2020. However, I did want to show you one of the talks to give you an example of what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and do so. If you don't hear the audio, please let me know. I think I've set it up right. Hopefully I did. Our next speaker is Julianne Sanpianato from Nanoengineering.
So, who are you when you're hungry? I am definitely not myself, but that's okay. You know why? Because when we are hungry, our blood glucose sugar levels drop super low, while our stress levels goes sky high. This is why sometimes we are a little bit grumpy or angry. But what if you were like this all the time? How could anybody tell that you're just hungry or feeling pain? Unfortunately, this is what happens with most of the newborns. They are born with very low glucose levels. So the doctors, they need to check their blood all the time. And all this pain, plus their low glucose levels, makes their stress levels constantly high. While this condition is only temporary for them, they do get better as they grow older. For babies born with type 1 diabetes, these high stress levels may follow them throughout all their childhood, and the number of kids with diabetes have been only increasing. In a group of 10 people with type 1 diabetes, at least 3 of them are less than 5 years old. And then being a parent is hard enough. Now, imagine that your kid has diabetes. You cannot rest, not even when they are asleep. Actually, this is one of the most dangerous hours. If their glucose drops during sleep, they may go into a coma and never come back. So, as a wearable sensors researcher, it is my job to try and bring some comfort for these babies and also parents. This is why, in our lab, we just combine a glucose sensor with a pacifier. We took a regular pacifier so we could collect the saliva, sending it to a sensing chamber where all the glucose in saliva is converted to electrical signal that you can read in your cell phone or in your computer. The greatest thing is that saliva is basically filtered blood. All the information that you have in blood, you can also find it in saliva. And now we can monitor blood glucose using only saliva. And here you can see the real thing. Here is the glucose strip, the sensor that we developed in our lab. You just need to replace it once a day. All the electronics responsible for reading and sending out the information that we also develop in our lab. It's very small, it's the size of a quarter coin. And the good thing is that the device has been already tested successfully in real PhD students. But right now, we just started a collaboration with a pediatrician at UC San Francisco, and then we are gonna test the pacifiers with the newborns. And then I just hope that soon enough, we can bring some peace of mind for these tiny little guys. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, that was Julianne. She's a graduate student in nanoengineering, I believe. That was her talk from last year, so you can get the sense of the 3 slides that she used. She did have a sort of embedded graphic in one of them that moved, but it wasn't a PowerPoint animation. It was all part of the one slide. And she set out the sort of problem that her work is hoping to address, and then the approach that they took to address it, and sharing where they are currently in this work, and what it means to parents and babies, and the significance, right? So there's a lot of great examples in there, and the way she used the visuals I thought was really wonderful, and the way that she talked about it in a way that people could understand glucose and diabetes and stress, I felt was a really great example. I mean, all of the videos are really wonderful, but this is a great one. So again, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We're happy to answer them at any time, really. And then I also wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to just get the link to the Grad Slam site. It has a lot of this information, including the registration or the sign up links for all of the preparatory sessions that are coming up. I'm going to put the link in here just so you can click on it. And then if you have questions, you can, or afterwards, you can also email GradLife, but we're here and we're live today and we're able to answer your questions. So please shoot those our way and we're happy to help you out.